It's been 14 years since the cult classic surprise hit Black Dynamite hit home video, and for the majority of those 14 years, fans have been begging for a sequel. Unfortunately, Michael Jai White couldn't get funding for it and ran into creative differences with the production company. That sucks, but thankfully, Michael Jai White, who wrote and starred in Black Dynamite along with Byron Mins, had written another story prior to making Black Dynamite called Outlaw Johnny Black. When it seemed like the Black Dynamite sequel might not happen, Jai White got to work creating an online proof of concept trailer that was uploaded to YouTube in 2018. In the trailer, Jai White plays a gunslinging Old West outlaw who's traveling the country looking for the man who killed his father. The trailer was so popular that White was able to crowdfund the money he needed to produce the movie, same as with Black Dynamite. Now at first glance, the trailer gives off the impression that Outlaw Johnny Black was going to be the spiritual successor to Black Dynamite that the fans have been waiting for. But I have good news and bad news. Here's the bad news first. Outlaw Johnny Black is not a spiritual successor to Black Dynamite, and in many ways, it's nothing like it. But the good news is that it's still entertaining and a very funny movie, just maybe not what you're expecting. Let me go into more detail. First off, Outlaw Johnny Black isn't a spoof of Western movies, like Black Dynamite was a spoof of 70s blaxploitation films. Let's get that out of the way. It's more of a straightforward comedy with probably way more drama and story than you'll be expecting. It's less Black Dynamite or A Million Ways to Die in the West, and more Bucking the Preacher or Monty Python. Despite featuring almost the same cast as Black Dynamite, the comedy is way more subdued this time around, and timed to fit into moments where you're least expecting it. The story is, for the most part, the exact same story as the trailer. Johnny Black, still played by Michael Jai White, comes to a town looking for another outlaw named Brett Clayton, played by Chris Browning, because Brett killed Johnny's father back when Johnny was just a little boy. He's been waiting on the opportunity to get revenge his whole life, and even had the man's name carved into the bullet. If this sounds familiar to you, it's not only because it's the plot of a whole bunch of westerns, but it's also very similar to the plot of Posse, another black western film. As a matter of fact, there's a lot about this movie that mirrors the movie Posse. The bullet being meant for a man who killed a father, Johnny Black's father being a preacher, even the overall plot of the rest of the film is similar. It's so much like Posse that when a character is later introduced as Jesse Lee, I half expected Mario Van Peebles to show up in a surprise cameo. Sadly, he doesn't, but the scene where Jesse Lee is introduced more than makes up for it because it's one of the more hilarious parts of the movie. One thing you'll notice about Outlaw Johnny Black is that it gets off to a slow start. It's not painfully slow, but it's not until 30 minutes in that the true plot of the film takes form and the revenge plot is forced into the background. There's a lot happening here, and at 2 hours and 15 minutes, at least 30 to 40 minutes could have been shaved off to deliver a more concise story. It feels like Jai White wanted to include every plot point that was shown off in the 2018 trailer, but because of that, it feels like two different movies stuffed into one. I mean, damn, say something for the sequel. But can you blame him though? For all he knows, this will be another Black Dynamite situation, where there is no sequel. Anyway, you might be surprised to learn that along with the movie being more drama than comedy, it also has a strong religious angle. Johnny's father was a preacher, but Johnny himself has fallen out of favor with the faith. This leads to a lot of situations where his morality, or lack thereof, is tested, and Outlaw Johnny Black becomes a story about redemption and salvation. Every character needs redemption in some way, and the movie eventually gets real heavy on the religious aspects. This could have taken the movie way left field, but it actually works within the confines of the story, as long as you don't care too much about the revenge plot. What really saves Outlaw Johnny Black is its characters. They're all great, especially Michael Jai White as Johnny Black. If you liked how he was always constantly annoyed in Black Dynamite and always ended up in awkward comical situations, then you'll love him here too. It's more of the same. It's a little weird that a Wild West gunslinger also happens to know MMA, but it's a unique twist on the genre, and who's going to pass up the opportunity to see White whip some ass? There's a few returning actors from Black Dynamite also, including Byron Mins, who plays a traveling preacher named Percy. He uses the same bullhorn voice from Black Dynamite, but it weirdly works here because it's exactly how you would expect a preacher to sound. Kim Whitley is back, so is Tommy Davidson and Kevin Chapman. They're all just as funny as the previous outing and fit well with the new members of the cast, who include Anika Noni Rose and Erica Ash. Also, look out for a cameo from Jilly from Philly. For a movie with a small budget, it also has great and convincing set design. Everything looks authentically Western. except for the Native Americans in the film. For some reason, they're all played by white people, and I feel like there's an inside joke there that the movie doesn't make blatantly obvious. I think I get what they were trying to reference, but I can't say without spoiling some of the movie. It was just a little jarring at first. I also want to applaud Johnny Black for not doing an overused new film cliche that I hate, and that's modern music in movies set in an old time period. I might be in the minority, but it takes me completely out of the movie when I'm watching something like a Western, then all of a sudden I hear Wu-Tang. I hate it and wish it would die. So with all that said, I bet you're all wondering the most important thing. Is Outlaw Johnny Black funny? Well, definitely, at least to me, but I personally didn't find it nearly as funny as Black Dynamite. That might not be fair though, because they're two completely different types of comedy. Black Dynamite's comedy was for the most part right in your face, as long as you understood its inspiration. Outlaw Johnny Black's brand of funny is more subtle, like when people keep trying to compare Johnny Black's face to his Wanted poster. He looks nothing like it, but they keep coming up with things that's different about it, other than the face, like the fact that he's wearing a different hat. It's all still funny, just not the kind of humor that's poking fun at itself. The movie has a story to tell, and that's the priority. And yeah, it's nothing original, but if you're okay with that and the length of the film, then Outlaw Johnny Black is more than enjoyable. As you all know, I don't give grades for modern movies anymore, and instead rate them a watch now, watch later, or watch whenever. And Outlaw Johnny Black is a watch now. Just make sure you check your expectations at the door and open your mind to a different kind of film than what you were expecting. And that's it for my review of Outlaw Johnny Black. Let me know what you thought about the movie Outlaw Johnny Black in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and tell your friends about my channel to help me grow. And until next time, I'll holla at you.